If I put you on the spot right now, could you tell me confidently that you know what your purpose is and you're living it each and every day? I'm willing to bet probably not. You see, most of us, if we're being honest, feel a little lost. We took a job that we don't feel that confident in, we don't really believe in. We just took it because of the money. Or we started a business because we knew it would be lucrative, but at the end of the day, maybe we still feel empty inside. And that is why purpose is so important. You see, purpose doesn't matter if you're rich or poor or if you're working a 9-to-5 or an entrepreneur. Regardless, everyone needs a purpose, but it's incredibly hard to pinpoint what exactly it is. Recently, I read this book called Built to Serve by Evan Carmichaels. And the book details out step by step not only how you can find your purpose, but also monetize it. That could be obviously picking the right job for you, but also becoming an entrepreneur, making money, monetizing what you love to do so it doesn't really feel like work. You see, there's certain people that I know you've met them that feel like they have endless energy. They work day in and day out. They still take care of their family. They still do all the things they need to be doing, but they're running at a different level, right? That is purpose and what it could do for us. But again, most of us don't live our purpose. Because of the fact we don't have a purpose, we don't have a filter for what we should and should not do. Without a purpose, we hang out with the wrong friends, we date the wrong people, we take the wrong jobs, we launch the wrong businesses, all of which starts to eat away at us. But with having the right purpose, we have this endless energy. And that's why I think the book Built to Serve is so important to people today. What are some of the steps that Evan takes you through when it comes to Built to Serve to help you find your purpose? I'm going to give you examples of the questions that he asked, but also some of the answers that it came to me as I was filling out these answers and the reason why it actually helped me launch the business that I ended up launching and why I enjoy it so much. So the hope is, as we're going through this, you can answer them, leave your comments down below with the answers that you get from these questions, but also maybe we can even help you find something, do something a little bit different that you actually enjoy. Beautiful day out today. Decided we're going to take the show on the road. So the first step in finding your purpose is actually identifying your who, he calls it, which is basically the core message, the one word that best describes you. So the first question, who is your favorite teacher and why? Sounds a little bright. Let's move over here. Who's your favorite teacher and why? So as I was going through this, I was thinking about a guy named Mr. Kopp. He was my 5th grade teacher, and I specifically remember the reason why he was my favorite. Actually, when I first met him, he was not my favorite. He was actually incredibly difficult, super disciplined. Honestly, we all thought he was a little mean. I love you, Mr. Kopp, don't be too mad. But the biggest reason why he was my favorite teacher is he taught me about not being a victim. So in 5th grade, I'm walking home from school, and I get to my front lawn and all of our personal belongings are on the front lawn. We got evicted. I used to joke with friends and family that my life is like a Lifetime movie because when I got home, right, and it's Michigan, it started pouring rain. So rain's all over our clothes, our personal belongings, everything's trashed. And I ran to school and I found Mr. Kopp, who happened to be still there. He did the most generous thing in the world. He went and got a tarp, took me back to the house to cover all of our personal belongings so it doesn't get ruined. That's not the thing that made him my favorite teacher. You see, what he did for me was that he never mentioned to anybody what actually happened. He didn't treat me any different. And the best part is when I still screwed up, he wouldn't let me go to recess. He made me still do homework. He, in a lot of ways, taught me that because something happens doesn't mean that you should allow that to dictate what you get done and what you don't get done. He didn't treat me like a victim. The thing that's important to note though about Mr. Kopp and why he was my favorite was simply because of the fact that most people at this time was treating me with kid gloves. They were saying everything was okay, that I wasn't getting my homework done or I wasn't doing well at school because of my situation at home. Mr. Kopp didn't do that. He didn't turn me into a victim. He didn't make me feel bad about my circumstances. He allowed me to just be me despite what was going on at home. And because of that, he ended up being my favorite. So the next question is, what is your favorite movie? Now, for some people, this question is actually really hard to answer. And so the way that I kind of figured this out was, what's the movie that, like, if it's on TV, you just can't help but leave it on. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the movie, the end of the movie, you just leave it on. So for me, it's Forrest Gump. And the reason being is because Forrest Gump is too dumb to know he can't do something. Think about it, right? Like he goes to college, they go, hey, do you want to play football? You're really fast. He goes, sure, why not? I think I could do that. Ends up being like an all-American football player. And he goes, hey, you know what? I want to start a shrimping company. What does he do? Crushes it, right? Multi-billion-dollar business. He goes, you know, I kind of like ping pong. What does he do? Goes on to be an all-star ping pong player. The fact is, Forrest Gump was just too dumb to know he couldn't do something. And that was something that I kind of admired about him and I tried to bring into my daily life. You see, most of us struggle with being able to get things done because we overthink it. Forrest Gump didn't have this problem. Just with these 2 questions alone, I was able to figure out what I wanted my one word to be, which was freedom. I didn't want my past experiences to dictate what I could or could not do. I loved Forrest Gump because he didn't have this thought pattern, right? It was all about doing what you enjoy and it leads to great success. That was what I wanted for myself. So my one word, my who, became freedom. And more so specifically for me, freedom just means personal freedom. Freedom from the past circumstances, stories, and excuses that, life tends to give to you. So that brings the next part of this, which is the why. The why question is a little bit difficult, right? The why question is, what is the most painful thing you've ever been through? The most painful thing you've ever been through is that motivator for you. It's the reason why you show up and do the things that you do so people don't never go through the same things that you went through. And this is the reason why oftentimes you'll hear Evan say, your purpose comes from your pain. So for me, the most painful experience I've ever been through was growing up the way that we grew up. My father going away to prison. It wasn't just the actions of my father going away to prison or being evicted. It was actually the feeling of not being in control. I hated the fact that I've always felt like because of my circumstance, because of the way that I was growing up and because the way my life was, it dictated how far I could really go in life. I couldn't stand that feeling. I felt like a prisoner in my own life, which then brings me to the how. The best part about purpose to me is that when you go through an exercise like this, is that the why and the who never really changes. The why you do what you do, the who you are, your one word, will not change. But how you execute on that can. So one thing you could do before we move on to the how is setting up your I help statement. I just kind of put it in a nice little bow so that way I could frame it somewhere, I could put it on my desk, and I can always remember, hey, am I living my purpose? Because when we veer off that purpose, that I help statement that we're gonna build right now, you kind of realize why you're not feeling your best, why you're not feeling like you're moving forward anywhere. And so I just kind of developed based on the questions that I asked and also to the most painful experience I've been through, the simple I help statement, which is I help people remove their obstacles and excuses so they can achieve personal freedom. Now again, the I help statement just helps you stay the course. The really brilliant thing about this is the how isn't as important as your who you are, what you stand for, and the why. It could change. So for example, there's many ways that I can remove other people's obstacles and excuses. One way that I do it, for example, is I coach people and we do a done for you service for video editing. We do this specifically for authors of books and people that want to become thought leaders on YouTube. The obstacles and excuses they go through every day is not feeling confident or not having the capability, the time, or the know-how to do this stuff. So I remove all of that so they can be free, have personal freedom to be able to put their messages out there. So that's just one way that I do it. But another way that I do it is obviously through my 9-to-5. I work with my 9-to-5 job. I work with a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs, and I help them grow their business through using sales and marketing automation. All of that how maybe doesn't really matter to you, but the key here is though, because of the tools that I utilize at this 9-to-5 job, I'm removing obstacles and excuses. So there's no wonder why I enjoy my 9-to-5. I enjoy making these YouTube videos because I'm allowing people to not have the excuse of I don't have time to read a book. Well, cool, watch my YouTube video and guess what? You can kind of get the core message and still be able to grow from the book itself and the author. And so your I help statement or your how can change. The only thing we have to be wary of is to ensure that whatever you do for your how is aligned with your purpose statement. So there's a lot that goes obviously into finding your purpose. And maybe unlike me, you go through the few questions and you realize, man, I still need help trying to discover this. Cool thing is when you pick up the book, he has PDFs with all the questions on there. I think there's 5 in total that you can go through and it'll help you identify your purpose a little bit better than maybe this video could. But I want to hear from you. Go in the comments below. Let me know your answers to the questions we went over. Who is your favorite teacher? What's your favorite movie? Most painful experience you've ever been through? Tell me if it helped you find your purpose. What is maybe that one word you could do? And then here's the best part, and I'll leave you with this. Once you find your purpose, once you identify this statement, it's really easy to see why some things are just not meant for you. It's really easy to see why some people you hang around with annoy the hell out of you, why the jobs maybe you had in the past weren't, you didn't stay there too long because it was against your purpose, your one word. My favorite thing about doing these videos, by the way, is seeing the comments from you guys, and that maybe you read the book and you took something completely different away from it, which allows me to learn, and maybe, hopefully, because watching these videos, you pick up on something that you didn't see when you first read it. So with that being said, I'm gonna head back home. I have to still pack my go bag for the baby. She should be here any day now. So if I don't post a video next week, you'll know why. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate you, and I'll see you all in the next video.